The freshly indicted Roger Stone has been a player in Republican politics for more than 40 years. Here's a picture of him way back in 1985, and the guy next to Stone is Lee Atwater, notorious hatchet man in Republican politics, maybe the most infamous. Also, he came up with the Willie Horton ad. And then on Stone's other side is a guy you may recognize, looks a little different now. His name is Paul Manafort. These guys were partners at the lobbying firm Black, Manafort, Stone and Kelly in the 1980s. Funnily enough, Manafort was also in federal court today before the same judge that now has the Stone case. A nice way for the two to be reunited. Stone was also crucial to Manafort getting the top job on the Trump campaign, as none other than Paul Manafort himself will tell you in the documentary, Get Me Roger Stone.
Did Roger recommend you for the job?
Roger was one of the 2 or 3 people who strongly recommended me, yes. Even after Roger stopped being the principal political advisor to Trump, he continued to be a very important advisor and is to this day. Roger's, relationship with Trump has been so interconnected that it's hard to define what's Roger and what's Donald. While it will be clearly a Trump presidency, I think it's influenced by a Stone philosophy.
Joining me now, Nick Ackerman, former assistant special Watergate prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst, and Rick Perlstein, author of Nixonland. Nick, I want to start with you because you encountered Roger Stone as a Watergate prosecutor.
I did.
Under what circumstances?
This was, to be precise, it was September 26, 1973. I was investigating an incident that occurred on May 3rd, 1972 on the Capitol Hill, where the White House, under Charles Colson, who was the counsel to the president, organized an event to try and maim or kill Daniel Ellsberg, who was the publisher of the Pentagon Papers.
Maim or kill?
Maim or kill. At least one witness told me that he was instructed by 2 of the operatives from the White House and the Committee to Re-elect the President that they were to go for Daniel Ellsberg and to maim or kill him. And the whole idea was that they brought up the same Cuban Americans from Miami, who were the same people that broke into the Watergate complex 3 weeks later.
All right, so where does Stone fit in?
Stone was part of a counter demonstration on Capitol Hill that was also organized by Charles Colson, the counsel to the president, to deflect attention away from the Cuban Americans who were then going to attack.
Wait, they were like the shiny hand over here. Right. Stone was staging a demonstration to take attention so that they could rush Daniel Ellsberg and maybe kill
exactly.
him?
But
and you interviewed Stone about his role in this.
I did.
He didn't know. Did he know they were going to try to maim or kill Ellsberg?
No, he did not. I mean, I don't think he knew.
He was like very junior.
He was so junior. It was absurd. I mean, it used to be a joke in the office that I broke Roger Stone.
Nick, Rick, you've covered Stone for years. I think you've interacted with him quite a bit. I think you were messaging with him when he got...
Yeah, we can talk about that if you want.
well, tell me, what is his role? How central has he been in Republican politics? Because I think he's often sort of, that colorful Roger Stone is sort of a marginal figure. But I'm not sure that's quite the truth. What do you think?
No, I think he was kind of a prototypical figure. He was a kind of a harbinger of things to come. So the thing he's most famous for in Watergate is in 1972, he was basically drafted. Nixon said, if you want something nasty done, get a healthy right-wing exuberant. So he was one of the healthy right-wing exuberants. And he was told to make a donation to one of the Democrats' campaigns and then send the canceled check to the Manchester Union Leader, a right-wing newspaper. It was supposed to be a donation from the Gay Liberation Front, but he was nervous that people would think he was gay, so he did it in the name of a socialist group instead, right? And yeah, so when the Watergate investigation happened the next year, this came out, and he was kind of happily ensconced in the Republican National Committee under Bob Dole as a youth organizer. And he was fired, and there was a bit of publicity. And lo and behold, 4 years later, here he is running for the president of the Young Republicans, which is, a very important organization in the Republican Party. Paul Manafort is his campaign manager. And basically at the convention, Paul Manafort brings this organization that looks more like a national, party convention. There's, books full of intelligence on the delegates. They're trading votes for favors. They're double-crossing people, all sorts of nasty stuff. And, in my research, I found, Walter Cronkite, just kind of pursing his lips in anguish and saying, what does the Republican Party become? But, become that he won, right? And then he becomes, in 1980, because he's kind of rising up the ladder, he's organizing basically the whole Northeast for Reagan's nomination campaign. And, Reagan wins the nomination, and it looks like he's going to become president. And so he gets together with another organizer of the Reagan campaign, Paul Manafort, and a third guy, Charlie Black, who's still around and seems to have removed himself from any kind of legal taint. I'd love to know how that happened. And they decide that they're going to form a lobbying firm in which they're going to literally sell their access to the president. And of course, they become very famous for basically defining a new kind of bottom-feeding lobbying in which they're willing to work for any dictator.
He's sort of an innovator in that respect.
Oh, he's been in New York State for a long time.
I want to get your reaction because the Nixon Foundation today huffily tweeted about the fact that Roger Stone, he was a Nixon, he was not. It was a gross misstatement to say he was a campaign advisor. He was 16 years old during the first campaign, 20 years old during the re-elect, and they nowhere in the presidential daily diaries is the name Roger Stone appear. It's just hilarious to me, like Nixon from
That's
the beyond
clever lawyering right there.
Right, yeah, Nixon from the beyond the grain, Nick trying to be like, I don't know Roger Stone.
Right, but again, they used people like Roger Stone to do all kinds of little dirty tricks.
Right, that's the point.
I mean, that business up in New Hampshire, I think that was with Congressman McCloskey, who was running against Nixon in the New Hampshire primary. And so they were trying to make McCloskey look like he was taking money from a socialist, and they used Roger Stone to do that.
And the point, Rick, here is this has been the ply and trade from the beginning is disinformation. He's got a great quote in the movie.
Right, so he's still kind of doing this, right? He's connecting himself to the next generation. I have this crazy story. I ordered a souvenir Roger Stone T-shirt that he basically advertised by sending out to all his contacts, and I paid $30 for this Roger Stone is Innocent T-shirt, and I see a charge on my credit card bill, and I don't recognize it. It's for a security firm in Miami. I ring the number and say, why did I just get charged $30 for a burglar alarm company in Florida? And the guy said, oh, did you order some Proud Boys stuff?
Wow.
And I said, no, but I ordered a Roger Stone T-shirt. What does he have to do with the Proud Boys? And to make a long story short, the guy turns out to be the leader of the Proud Boys, a guy named Enrico Terrio. And he claims to me, as we chat for about 5 minutes, because these guys have such strong operational security, that Roger is a member of the Proud Boys, and he had lunch with them only that day.
He's been
to strategize.
He's been in pictures with them, and they were there outside the crazy scene outside the courthouse in his house today in Fort Lauderdale. Nick Ackerman and Rick
Pearlstein. Professional thug.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.